Welcome to the Peak Performance and Peak Satisfaction podcast with Master Executive Coach Sherry Gregoff. Sherry helps business people perform better, get rewarded handsomely, and actually enjoy their work. After having her own career turnaround, she now helps other high-powered business professionals experience the same. Join the movement to work differently.
Welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here. Getting your head back in the game, the business skill you didn't know you needed. As a trained life coach, I have the uncanny ability of helping you navigate the stickiest and most daunting situations in work and life so that you come out on top every time. If you were wondering how that could be, in this episode, I let you in on the secret ingredient to my coaching that becomes your professional edge and differentiator everywhere you go. Before we jump in, I want to shout out one of my clients who had a win in this area. Here is the quote from her. "After coaching with you, my mental health is so good. This is like work therapy that improves my performance, business impact, rewards, and recognition. We went through the fire together in a low point of my career, and what a difference 2 months together have made." When we started working together, this client was under stress and feeling disappointed from extreme turnover and change at her company. She felt at a loss, and each day was like a grind that she dreaded, not wanting to face the churn. She said it was having a trusted advisor who was completely objective and prepared to hear anything, even when she felt at her worst, that allowed her to process the big feelings about her evolving work situation and move forward despite them. When we are in the thick of it, it's hard not to bring it home. We may be down or not present, or even snap at the ones we love because of the pressure and discouragement. This client was pleasantly surprised by what we were able to resolve and how far-reaching the impact was. Beyond finding her feet in a dizzying amount of change at work in her leadership, then I helped her recognize and accept her shifting career goals. Having always been a driver for more in her career with strong ambition, our coaching allowed her to identify what she really wanted, in contrast to what other people thought she should want. It allowed her to make peace with where she is now. She was able to define success for herself and stop chasing someone else's definition of success out of obligation or habit. For the first time, her professional and personal goals were her own. She was setting her own career path and was pleasantly surprised at how great it felt. Beyond feeling better every day about the changing business around her and her commitment to her career vision, this cleared her head to navigate the upcoming acquisition of her company, to think strategically about the direction of her function in a changing industry and in the world of AI, to take control of her calendar and reduce the frequency of recurring meetings she dreaded while raising the bar so that they were a better use of time, setting higher expectations for her team to lead so that she could spend more time setting direction instead of probing issues in their areas, all of which will improve her impact and career results. Getting her head back in the game to tap back into her highest quality actions and decisions is what set her up for success, even when it felt against all odds. Similar victories are shared by all of my clients, and I have experienced it too in my own career turnaround. So let's hop to today's podcast content and get you on your way to experiencing this also. After a lifetime of programming that work and life are at odds and the best case scenario is a balance, I'd like to offer you what you likely already know to be true. The two are deeply intertwined. We may cling to an oversimplified notion that we clock in and clock out and work stays between work hours, but we know it can infiltrate our thoughts and attention, whether we work beyond those hours or not. We might love the idea of leaving our personal life at the door when we work, like my dance instructor used to tell us when entering the studio, Leave it at the door so you can leave everything all on the floor. But that can be easier said than done when you lose a parent or have a child in crisis or receive a concerning health diagnosis. I don't separate work and life in my coaching support because our challenges don't. We aren't robots at the office, though we try to be, or at least we believe that we must give that perception. It's not one or the other, work or life. It's addressing any aspect that has us undershooting our potential. It's mutually reinforcing and synergistic. So, if my coaching scope for you stopped at 360s and setting business strategy, we would only be solving for one part of the puzzle. An important part, but not one that stands alone. You are your best at work when your whole life is humming, and you are your best across every area of life when you are thriving at work. The converse is also true. When you feel like work isn't going well, it bleeds into everything else in your life. Or when crisis hits at home, navigating work feels impossible. I help you with both of these situations. First, on work not going well, and it showing up everywhere else. I was the poster child for this. I had my dream job doing work I enjoyed, but then I mastered it. I stopped growing and learning in my work. I had a vision for my career that had been on the shelf for years, but I never pursued it earnestly. Things weren't dire, but they weren't great. My priorities slipped out of whack and upside down. Work began to dominate my waking hours and seemingly most thoughts. I escaped with the distractions of the day, binge watching, scrolling, a glass of wine, but it didn't resolve the internal conflict. I noticed myself being short with my kids, spending every moment I had with my husband complaining, and generally beating myself up in every other waking moment. My physical health started to reflect what was happening, and the scale climbed. Dreading a new day and week became the norm. It was quarantine during COVID that prompted taking stock and deciding that changes were in order. Coaching helped me clarify my goals and make decisions, to shift my perspective and start taking consistent action towards what I wanted. Those 3 principles underscore my coaching today. In fact, every coaching session that I have with clients are summarized around these 3 principles. For me, it was nothing short of transformation, feeling engaged and challenged in my work again, but also capable of growing and meeting that challenge. I felt more fulfilled and work became more rewarding. This made me present and energized in everything else. I showed up as a better wife and mom. I started leading in my community and giving back. I doubled down on my faith, which became my anchor and priority. Now I help others create what they want in their work and life. In a single sentence, to excel with more ease, earn better rewards, and truly enjoy work and life. Knowing how this changed everything for me, I couldn't think of a more valuable gift to give others or service to dedicate my craft to. Perhaps you can relate to when things aren't going the way you hoped at work and how it tends to have a ripple effect everywhere else, namely in your health and relationships. It can leave you spinning, which makes your performance and your satisfaction plummet. In just this last week, a client of mine reflected on how far he had come, how his situation changed since we started working together, but also his outlook, satisfaction, professional prospects, spirituality, and home life too. As he celebrated an incredible milestone in his career and life, and began what would be a planned week of relaxation and leisure, he shared his take on the coaching engagement and my role. He said I was part work therapist, part career strategist, and part spiritual guru. In our work together, it so happens that we haven't even scratched the surface of how to maximize his impact while inside of a business organization. but that will be our next area of focus that will likely add to how he characterizes my role as his advisor. I was told by another prospective client this week that the term executive coach undersells the scope of support that I provide. After a couple of hours together, he suggested that life coach for business people was more fitting. I share this not to debate my branding, but to call attention to the secret sauce that makes my coaching different from traditional executive coaching of business professionals. How you view the world around you and your place in it, your ability to create positive change, and the skill to turn every situation into an opportunity is a toolkit that may not be getting the attention it requires from you. We don't often talk about it. I find it to be a source of professional edge for my people, a differentiator that levels up how they perform, one that so many of their colleagues are missing. In addition to challenges in the workplace, such as being unsatisfied with career progress, borderline burnout, being your own worst critic, overworking in your job, stepping in for your team, corporate politics and conflict with others, and waiting for your boss to elevate you, there may be a parallel set of challenges that are squarely caused by or impacting your professional situation, such as not liking who you've become with your partner and kids, having health that's plummeting, fading as part of the sandwich generation, uncertain how to drive a successful career while caring for children and aging parents, having a friend pass away and feeling overcome with grief, knowing that you've got to get it together, but not sure how when your work life is chaos, realizing that all of your focus is on work and that you forgot to have hobbies or maintain friendships, reeling from discrimination or harassment at the office and finding it all-consuming. And finally, sensing that your coping mechanisms of distraction or escape isn't helping, and yet you can't stop. How we perform at work goes deeper than the skills you learn at business school. Those skills are necessary, and developing your business acumen is a big part of what we do. But there's more that's necessary for successful leadership. Ask anyone who knows how to set strategy, but stays quiet because of imposter syndrome. Ask anyone who would like to grow their impact, but avoids the corporate politics involved. Ask anyone who loves what they do, but feels held hostage by their boss or company as the villain. We may know what it is that is standing in the way of thriving in our work and life, but not have the tools to clear those obstacles. Many of our professional development goals themselves are dependent on clearing mental blocks and limits that may have formed in our personal lives. Imposter syndrome isn't resolved with your leadership textbook. Work trauma isn't put to bed with your marketing manual or your personal brand. Even when we know what action would help us, we sometimes still can't bring ourselves to actually do it. That's where guided support can take naming the challenges to the next level in overcoming the root causes of them, day in and day out as a practice, even while having missteps and curveballs in the office and at home. Whether the crux of the challenge is happening at work or at home or both, here is what we do. To move forward, we can't ignore it or stuff the big emotions, but instead we need to walk through it and process fully what is happening. It's this step that allows us to switch to warrior mode and channel our inner strength to empower ourselves to create a better future. Let's turn to real-life scenarios that may rhyme with where you find yourself at this moment to show you what is possible. One client has made trade-offs in her career and taken lateral moves to grow her exposure to new areas. In that process, she finds herself working for a manager who is very hands-on and asks to pre-approve every communication that she sends. She has found a way to coexist and succeed in this environment, but is ready for a new opportunity. As she applies internally to her company, which she is proud to work for, given their mission, and feels indebted to because of her impressive trajectory. This manager of hers has participated in interview panels and worked to keep this leader in seat as the rest of her team resigns or transfers out. All of this taken together was making this client feel like there was no way out. Any interview became a lifeline, the one prospect at moving on to something better. Pressure was high, and when she wouldn't land the role for understandable reasons, lack of experience in a particular field or less familiarity with the pressing challenges than the other candidates, she would lower her expectations. When we started working together, she felt her best approach was to stay quiet, not suggest ideas, adapt to fit the mold around her, be agreeable, and be grateful for the role she had. In practice, that felt discouraging and unsustainable. Week to week, I would help her grieve if another job opportunity didn't work out, but instead of ruminating on it or making it about her, we would find the objectively observable rationale. And then we would evaluate what worked well, what didn't work well, and what she would do differently next time. Having this time set aside to face what felt so uncomfortable enabled her to flip to what we nicknamed her warrior mode, where she armored up to step out into the fray again, to give it her best and be ready to succeed or learn exactly what she needed to next for imminent success. She extracted value from every situation and felt strengthened and energized to press forward, taking constructive action that would definitely lead to better outcomes. Her exact words were, "Thank you for all you have done for me. Talking to you makes me feel empowered and ready for more. I know I can do it." Another client was the only in her company's function, in that location, in an industry not typically worked by people who looked like and sounded like her. We would connect following meetings where she would be treated unprofessionally, and then receive a swarm of messages encouraging her and discrediting the treatment she was receiving. What struck me about her situation was that her daughter, a woman of color, was finishing up at university and preparing to enter the same industry. I think what was most gut-wrenching to her was the idea of sending her own daughter into the same dynamic, knowing full well the bumpy road it might be for her too. With situations like this, it's hard to have confidants at the office without introducing even more risk to a high-stakes situation. It's hard to get support from partners and friends who may not quite understand the intricacies. And yet, it's a challenge that can weigh heavy on us long after we leave the office. In our work together, she could share what felt unshareable about the unthinkable, a well-regarded and revered brand where these activities were still taking place. I helped her make some tough decisions about what she was willing to tolerate going forward, how she would convey those expectations, and her plan for different scenarios that could ensue. This partnership and support, understanding the difficulty, but always with an eye towards the future, is what empowered her to start using her voice and changing her situation for the better. These are the unsaid aspects of business careers that we don't learn how to navigate when training in our area of expertise. A prospective client felt completely sidelined in his career when a legal charge was put on his record. While charges were dropped, and he grew through the process to be a better husband, father, and business professional, he now felt like his reputation was tarnished and his work and life were on hold until his record was cleared. This could have had him in his head on most days, ruminating on the situation and it keeping him from showing up how he wanted to with his family and in taking the action that would help him find engaging and rewarding work. He presumed that certain things just wouldn't be possible for him in this situation. I helped him realize that counting himself out before turning over opportunities would just make matters worse. Sometimes our brain flashes ideas that we think are just facts. but we need an outside perspective to fact check what we think we know to be 100% true. In our short time together, he started to have hope that his work and life wouldn't be on hold for months, but that he was empowered to change his situation immediately. He noted how when we would coach together, he would feel highly motivated and start taking massive action to improve his situation. But then days later, self-doubt would creep back in, and then the doldrums, until we met again. I pointed out that this is how it starts, but by the end of our coaching together, you have these tools to motivate yourself and overcome any setback, to recognize when you have fallen off track, and to know how to shift back into a more constructive mindset and routine. Today, I coached a client who just found out that a massive initiative she is running had a major issue that her team was responsible for. In the moment, she felt angry, embarrassed, and shocked. She needed a minute to step out of the drama and strategize on how to move forward. We acknowledged the surprise and how puzzling it was, to then investigate and uncover how this issue was happening undetected until now. It's a blend of acknowledging how painful this can be and also gently realizing these things absolutely happen in business. Together, we dove in the weeds of what technical steps and oversight could be introduced immediately to spot this and prevent recurrence while they got things back on track and saw it through to completion. These were concrete steps to stabilize the effort and engender confidence from her leaders and stakeholders once again. We also determined what difficult performance management messages would need to be delivered to the team member behind the issue and exactly how to present it in a way that lands, but also underscores the severity of what must be addressed and by when. If at the start of the session she felt like the team had failed on her watch, sending her into fight, flight, freeze, by the end of the call she was ready to face it head on and stay calm to problem solve and swiftly bring order to the situation. At the end of this conversation, she said she really needed this therapy session, given where her head was at. We use shortcut language like this, but it doesn't quite capture what we did. We set her strategy for how to lead her business and immediate concrete next steps to stabilize her work. We set a communication plan for her team members involved and their key partners, as well as her boss. We thought critically about the skill gaps and behaviors her direct report exhibited that will need to be formally communicated and turned into a performance improvement plan. We decided what level of transparency she would need going forward to oversee her team without micromanaging. We decided how to respond to feedback from her leadership team and instill a deeper sense of ownership and autonomy in them in setting direction and proposing the way forward. I think what has prompted several clients to comment in the last week alone on the scope of our work together is a deep recognition of the value of having a sounding board where you can show up as you are with a boatload of challenges that you are facing, some uncomfortable and disconcerting emotions that accompany them, and expect a zero judgment, zero rattle space with a trusted coach. And then when you leave, to have clear next steps that you know will improve things, and importantly, the headspace and perspective to actually follow through and do them well. That winning combination of an open invitation to bring it all, plus the trusted conclusion that will include higher quality actions and a higher quality mindset to make them possible. That is the secret ingredient. I love gifting it to my clients, session after session. I am their trainer, accountability partner, mirror, pattern investigator, and translator. And they're a career strategist, work therapist, spiritual guru, leadership development guide, business consultant, and performance coach. But also, they're trusted advisor, confidant, strategic counsel, success architect, thought partner, truth teller, transformation agent, breakthrough facilitator, fixer, and results accelerator. For now, let's just say executive coach. If you are looking for an edge in creating the success you want in your work and life, schedule your complimentary consultation with me at the first link in the show notes. It's time to set your plan to make your next chapter your best one yet. If I can help you get there faster and make the journey more pleasant, I will explain how my coaching works and how keeping your head in the game will make all the difference. Until next time.
Looking for support in applying the principles and strategies in today's episode? Sherry coaches clients one-on-one as their trusted confidant and advisor, helping each client create the work and life they had only dreamed of. To schedule your complimentary career strategy session, go to sherrygregoff.com/apply to book time with her today. It's one simple step that can change everything.